Mama G and Web3. Here we are again. We're just catching up with each other. My daughter, she's brought her daughter. What is she now? Nearly 9 weeks.
2 months yesterday.
2 months yesterday. We haven't had one of those pictures of her on screen with the little plaque that says.
I bought them to do them, but time just gets. You just forget.
Yeah, it's all the rage these days, isn't it? Today I am 1 month old. Today I am 2 months old.
I remembered last minute last night, and she was already ready for bed. So.
Don't worry, we won't forget her milestones. She's important to us. So she's doing great. Really thrilled that Esme is here again for us to catch up. I was just reflecting this morning before she came how much I value the fact that we are getting together on a regular basis and just finding our relationships moving into a new season, do you think?
Yeah.
Which is quite gratifying because we've both had very separate lives and been on different kind of journeys in the last 10 years since Esme left home. But now into season of being a grandparent, though I don't want to be called a granny. Just really enjoying some of the early signs of development that our little baby here is giving us. So what's she doing now? She's smiling, she's catching your eye, she's talking to the yucca plant. Anything else?
Yeah, she laughs. She's following you around the room. She's trying, when you put her on her belly, it's like she wants to crawl, run away.
Mm-hmm.
She can lift her head as well, which is good.
So I was thinking this morning about some of the things I'm working on at the moment, and one of them is regularly getting involved in keeping up to date with some of the thinking that's being written, being published, and one book was published this week. I think it was this week or last, called The Zombie Generation, which is obviously a nod at the book that was very popular last year called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. This one is also along those lines and talks about the fact that our younger generation, the ones that we have not served, the kind of the 12 to 19-year-olds around today, who've had carte blanche access to smartphones and screens without us really understanding the addictive influences of those things on their brain. And I was thinking about the idea of the zombie generation, and it's so disturbing, but I know that I've seen that kind of look on young people's faces. One place where I worked recently, we used to have our shared canteen facilities, and sometimes you would just go in the room and say hi, and there'd be no answer, as if I hadn't even been heard. I would see some of the co-workers with the hair right down here, with their phones here, with their heads down and their hunchbacks, and I just felt on every level that's got to be wrong. Not to feel able to engage with one another over a 30-minute tea break, it's sad. But I'm not here to knock the digital revolution. As you know, I hope by now you're realising that the thing we need to be able to do is prepare not only every one of us at all ages to engage the most effectively we can within the limits of our ability and skills, but also prepare the younger ones who are going to be taking over a completely different landscape when they start to work. And if we haven't prepared and equipped them to be able to cope with the tension of the real interest and fascination that these things have to offer, on one hand, but the ability to put them down and have a conversation and a quiet moment of thought and reflection, which just doesn't come naturally these days. So as a thoughtful, reflective person myself, I don't find it hard to be on my own. I don't find it hard to be quiet, to be in silence. I feel like my mind, my imagination, more than compensates for that. But I know that you have yourself been more of a person that's geared for action and movement. And you were fond of dancing, weren't you, as a child? You were a learner who always had to get up and jig about and scribble and move around and learn through action.
Yeah.
What do you think is difficult for even a 30-year-old like yourself, never mind your baby, as she grows up? What do you think is difficult about environments where it's quiet, you get bored, or you've forgotten your phone? What are the feelings that go through your mind if you've left the house and you've forgotten your phone, for instance? What do you feel?
I have to go back and get it.
Well, how about you were on a train and you couldn't go back and get it because you'd missed the train and that would be the end of your commitment that day? If you couldn't go back for it, what does that feel like?
Feel a bit lost without the phone, especially if I'm on my own, because when you're travelling, it's your point of contact to people.
Yeah.
It's your wallet. It's my wallet because I don't carry my card.
Okay. Yeah. But this is the thing. It's
It's
more than just
everything's on my phone.
Yeah. It is a big deal. It is. It wasn't so much maybe 10 years ago when it was just a bit of a game in your hand, maybe a bit of a entertainment. But now it's everything. So yeah, you're probably right. You would have to go home. But I think I'm getting at the idea that today our children don't know what to do when they're bored. They haven't ever had to push through that boredom threshold because there's always something within reach. And I know for one, I would often get sent to my bedroom for some reason or other as a punishment. And these days, obviously, if you go to your bedroom as a child, that's no punishment, is it?
No.
Because everything's there.
Yeah.
So being bored, being alone, being unable to reach out to anyone and to actually experience the discipline of being contained and being frustrated is not a skill that we have. I think sometimes that's why we see so much argumentativeness in the public realm, road rage and stuff like that. What do you think?
Yeah, but I think obviously if you didn't need it for your wallet and things like that, you should be able to kind of adjust, because I guess it's sometimes good being bored because then you find other things to do.
Yeah.
And you learn how to entertain or keep your mind on something else rather than just fixate on the phone. But like I said, I don't have my phone just for that reason. If I was on the train, my ticket's on the phone as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm still in that place where I've tried it both ways and I don't like the feeling of being at the mercy of the charge on my phone running out. So I usually have a backup copy because that's just what people who are 50 something do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess today I wanted to bring in also the idea that is really my motivation for doing these conversations and reaching out to you, is that not only are we as a society losing touch with physical contact with one another and we're moving further away as families, relying on technology alone to keep us connected, we don't necessarily have community as a lifestyle either. Now, I've always been involved in church life, and even from being a baby was involved in church, and that has changed. What that looks like and feels like is completely different today than it was in my childhood and in my young adulthood. But community is a value, I think, that many in the Gen Z generation or Gen Z, if you're American, are beginning to come back to in droves. They're beginning to realise there's nothing like intimacy, conversation round a table, round a meal. We've even lost the art of eating meals together at a set time. And there's a lot of that coming back in. And lots of young people, young communities, and people that gather around a certain belief. And for me, it's Christianity, realising that there's great value in that shared conversation and in the debating and pushing back on ideas and opinions and how things feel and how things should be worked out in everyday lives. And I think I want to make the point again today that if you are struggling with the need for contact, for human conversation, for deeper debates on what life really is, then there's nothing better than to get around people of like mind or who can sharpen you, who can stretch you. And I'm really saying that as parents, as carers, as people who are guarding their children and their loved ones from some of the really dark and evil undertones that can be available out there in the digital space, we need each other. We need to be able to have strategies that work. We need to be able to recommend tools and resources, reading, videos, whatever you found that's worked for you. And so Mama G in Web3 is a space, a private community where you would be encouraged to subscribe and get involved and be able to find that touching base with one another and sharing of challenges and finding friendship, finding support, finding discipleship if that's what you're after. Certainly, a passion of mine is to help to disciple people who are younger in faith or younger in life or younger in wisdom, and just to be one who can pull others along the way and inspire and encourage, and being of a view very much that around a 15-year gap between people's ages seems a very, very beneficial thing. And I remember I was thinking about this the other day. She's about 15 years younger than, who was it? Melchi's daughter, do you remember?
Yeah.
And Melchi, her mother, was about 15 years older than you. You're about 15 years older than Melchi's daughter, and then Melchi was about 15 years younger than me, and I'm about 15 years younger than my best friend as well. And there's something about that constant passing on of experience, because I don't relate to someone who's 45 years younger than me, but the one that's 15 years differences is more able to inspire. So if you're out there, you're in your 40s or so, and you're wanting to encourage your children and their children, get on board. Find someone who's just a stage ahead of you. That's the key. Find someone who can really draw you along in encouragement, in gifting, and just being able to give you all the positive strokes that you need at the stage of life that you're at. You know, the computer and the phone is great, but there's nothing like a hug. And that's what we can do. And we can encourage one another to do the same. So it's Mama G and Web3. Check it out, like, subscribe, and make sure you follow our story, because we're only a few weeks in, aren't we?
Yeah.
And it's just going to get exciting to see where this goes. We haven't even done an interview yet with Uncle Simeon.
Oh yeah. On it.
You just wait till you meet him. Check it out. See you soon.